What Lonzo Thinks is a free-flowing discussion where I talk about everything from movies, television, sports, politics, current events, pop culture. You name it. If it's happening, I'm going to talk about it. The Defenders Season 1 is the long-anticipated team-up of the Marvel Netflix Extended Universe. Now, this includes the heroes Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Daredevil. Now, they are essentially a television version of the Avengers. However, the two universes are related, and the events of the Defenders run concurrent to the events of the Avengers. So if you're into the comic book movie series, you'll know exactly where this is going. Season 1 consists of 8 episodes that you can of course binge watch at your leisure on Netflix at any time. However, I will be careful with what I say and not reveal any spoilers for those of you out there who have not seen all 8 episodes yet. Now, I must admit that as a child, that The Defenders was one of my favorite comic book series. Most notably, Luke Cage and Iron Fist. They called themselves the Heroes for Hire back then. They were a team up. And actually, the very first comic book I ever bought as a kid was Volume 1, or issue number 1, of Heroes for Hire, which was, of course, Power Man and Iron Fist. Luke Cage also went by the name of Power Man. So yeah, I was very excited to finally get a chance to see The Defenders on television. Now, The Defenders is a culmination of the stories of the 4 heroes from the standalone Netflix series. Of the 4, Daredevil has been the most popular and the most critically successful, having had a second season under his belt, which of course included a great turn by the Punisher. Luke Cage was also very well received along with Jessica Jones, but unfortunately Iron Fist was not very well received because, for all intents and purposes, it sucked. Now, The Defenders starts off with each of these characters doing their own thing. Luke has just been released from prison, and he goes back to Harlem, where he's from, and he finally hooks up with his quasi-girlfriend, Claire, played by Rosario Dawson, and from there he's dragged into trying to find a troubled teenager from the neighborhood who's gotten into a bit of trouble. Where Iron Fist is busy circling the globe, he's a billionaire, by the way, and he's trying to track down the villainous Hand, which is a group of heinous supernatural villains, and they are the big villains in this series as well. Now, Jessica Jones is a full-time private detective, full-time alcoholic, and part-time hoe, and she is trying to track down a missing person. And finally, Daredevil, aka Matt Murdock, he's a blind attorney, of course, and he has retired from the superhero crime-fighting game and is practicing law pro bono. But at the same time, his absence from the crime-fighting game has created a void in his life, and he is really kind of itching to get back into the superhero game, so to speak. Now, the characters, in a great move, I think, by the show writers, they come together organically versus being jammed together by the writers, which I think was a very smart move. Their paths cross naturally through the course of the first couple episodes, and their various investigations kind of lead them to the same place. Now, at first, when they get together, they're reluctant to team up because they don't all know each other, first of all. Now, Luke and Jessica know each other because in season 1 of Jessica Jones, she hooks up with Luke and they also became lovers. But now, Claire, who is now Luke's girlfriend, appears in each one of the standalone series, so she's kind of like the tie that binds them all together, which was a great move. That way it seems more organic. You got one person who can kind of introduce them and kind of vouch for each one of the major characters, and it seems just a little bit more organic that way. Now, of the 4 heroes, Iron Fist is the one that's most happy to get together. He's all giddy. He's the youngest of the crew, and he's eager to get together with these guys and fight together. Whereas Jessica Jones, she's not trying to hear it. She wants to do her own thing, and she wants to just do her job and not get involved in anything any deeper. And Daredevil has some secrets that he's not revealing to the other members. So each one of these guys, they have their own agenda while trying to come together as a team at the same time. And I love the way this plot point plays out because the team, they're really acting realistically with their suspicions and lack of complete trust in one another, even though they need each other's strengths to ultimately defeat that common enemy, which is the Hand. Now, of the 4 members, Jessica Jones is the most fleshed out in my opinion because her reservations about being a part of the team is a real dilemma that she must reconcile before going all in with them. And this makes for great banter between the protagonists as they tried to come to grips with being reluctant heroes who have to rely on one another. They're used to just doing their own thing, being answering to no one, not having to worry about anyone but their own agendas, and now they have to actually account for one another. Now, even though Iron Fist is the most giddy of the group, he is also the most vapid and unlikable of the bunch, in my opinion. Season 1 of his show, I hated the fact that he seemed to be so vulnerable when he should be among the most powerful of the superheroes. As you well know, his legendary Iron Fist is all powerful, but he rarely uses it in his own show. And I was hoping to see more use of the Iron Fist power in the Defenders, but he doesn't. It's pretty much the same. And in my opinion, that takes away from the dynamic nature of that character. He has this superpower that he rarely uses, and it really doesn't make any sense why he would not use it 100% of the time. Why have it if you're not going to use it? It's like having a Ferrari in your garage and driving a Pinto. It don't make no sense. As for Luke Cage, he's the most down to earth of the team, and he is just a normal guy who's pressed into abnormal circumstances. He'll be happy just doing his own thing, working a 9-to-5 job and minding his own business, and therefore he's the most relatable of the group. In any superhero series or movie, the quality of the project is determined by the quality of the villain. In the Defenders, the Hand, which is the group of villains, they do serve as a formidable adversary. I think that this is bolstered by the fact that there isn't just one villain. It's an organization led by 5 fingers of the Hand, and each one of the villains have their own personality and varying agenda. So essentially, we have a team of bad guys going against a team of good guys, and they each have their own agenda. And that works well for the cohesiveness and the literal sense of the story. The de facto leader of the Hand is Alexandria, and she's played by the famous actress Sigourney Weaver from Aliens. And she is cruel, ruthless, conniving, and she hits all the right notes to make her character terrifying and somewhat sympathetic at the same time, because her objective is something that we can all relate to, and she is absolutely great in this role. Now, also a character from one of the earlier standalone seasons also returns. I won't say who that character is, but this character is a welcome addition to the show. In fact, several characters from the standalones do return to add weight and drama to the plot. So you have a lot of different threads that tie all these stories together, and the writers did a good job of including everyone. Even for a small amount of time, everyone kind of got their moment to shine to add more continuity to the overall story. Now, as for the action scenes, the fights are pretty well done, especially one scene where they all come together. The first time they come together, I think it's in episode number 3 at the very end of the show. They all come together and you see them fight together for the first time. It's a very well played out scene. Because each series has a contained fight sequence that usually takes place in confined quarters, which is usually a hallway. And that's no different for the Defenders, and it's done very, very well. And it's the standout fight scene in the entire 8-episode series. Now, my only criticism when it comes to the fight scenes is that they do get kind of redundant, and I never feel like the main characters were ever in any kind of a jeopardy of getting hurt or killed. But that's just a small gripe. But you get that in every superhero type TV show or a movie nowadays. Also, the 8 episodes do take the time out to address the various subplots, but it does not bog down from the overall flow. And I think cutting the series down from the traditional 13 episodes down to 8 episodes helps with the flow of the overall narrative. And like I said before, it keeps it more cohesive. Now, on the whole, The Defenders Season 1 is good, but not great. But it is a solid addition to the Netflix MCU. The standout of the team is Luke Cage, along with Jessica Jones. And going forward, I would like to see more out of Iron Fist and less melodrama out of Daredevil. If you're a fan of the series and or a fan of the standalones, The Defenders is must-see TV. But if you have not watched any of the series leading up to it, I don't think you'll get much from The Defenders, because you're not really going to understand the motivations of the characters, why they're doing what they're doing, especially the motivations of the Hand. It's going to ring kind of flat for you. You can still be entertained by it, but you're not going to know what the hell is going on. So I'm going to highly suggest that you watch the standalone series first, starting with Daredevil Season 1 and 2, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and then Iron Fist, and then you'll get a better feel for it. I know it's a lot of watching, but if you have the time to do it, you'll get more from the Defenders. Either way, it's good, not great. It's a welcome addition. I enjoyed it. I might not watch it again. If I have nothing else to do better with my time, I might just pop it in if I need to go to sleep or something. But it's not something that I'm just raring to see. Every time I get a hankering to see the Netflix MCU, I'm not going to be putting on the Defenders. I'll probably put on Luke Cage season 1 or season 1 or 2 of Daredevil. But overall, it is a welcome addition. I think you'll enjoy it. If you have any questions or concerns, hit me up. I want to see your comments. Comment below. Please subscribe. Hit me up on Patreon. Drop some loot on me if you can. Hit me up. Twitter, What Lonzo Thinks at Twitter, or email whatlonzothinks@gmail.com. Hit me up. Let me know. Once again, the Defenders season 1 on Netflix is streaming now. Check it out. All 8 episodes. You can binge it. I think you'll like it. It's good, not great. This is What Lonzo Thinks. Bye.